Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am one of the most fabulous, dynamic, fantastic, phenomenal, amazing, beautiful, sexy duos here on video, TV, YouTube, whatever. There doesn't get any better than the two that are in front of you right now. I am the badass Buddha, Lori Monaco, coming to you today from a very, very rainy and thundery morning in Southern Connecticut. It is very cool out. The wind is going, not too hard. It is dark. It looks like it's 4:00 in the morning right now. It is the thunder's rolling through. It sounds absolutely spectacular. It's pouring, but not pouring too much. So it's just absolutely. It's very cool. So good morning, everyone.
Buenos dias, Milagros Ibiza. Good morning. That was funny. That was good. I guess you're trying to raise the curtain so the light is shining in with the weather over there. That was beautiful. Good morning, mi gente. Here is sunny. I don't know how hot it is. I haven't been outside yet, but woke up to a sunny day because it's a beautiful morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Celebrate.
What am I doing? I'm trying. Did you introduce yourself? I don't think you introduced yourself yet.
I think everybody knows me. I don't.
Oh, it's gonna be like that.
I am
Everybody knows you.
Margarita, your gladiator guru. Soy, you know what they say? I am many things, yet I am. This is me, La Margarita.
La Margarita.
I'm not even going to. I only have one sip of coffee. I'm not even going to add because I might just take away from her phenomenal introduction. So we're just going to ride that little wave of positive adjectives she described us with, and we're going to just be fine with that. That was awesome. Your necklace is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. As always, I love your pearls. Always stunning in your pearls. Kenya, please share, right? We tell this all the time. We know we don't have too many people on right at this moment, but we usually get them on. They filter in. But it's important for you to share the room, share everything so that they know where you are. Not that they need to know where you are at any given time, but so they can hear this information. I have not checked analytics. I don't think Gladiator Guru has as well, but it would be interesting to see the videos for September reach like an ultimate high in views. We've been averaging out about not really high, like, we've been probably averaging about 250 views, which isn't spectacular, but we're not complaining about it. It's fabulous. The people that are listening are the people that we love and cherish and are happy that they're here. But this information is so key because remember, we talked about this in the beginning of September. We talked about the fact that, a lot of times we just ride out the end of the year. September flows in, people who have children, it's like they're just feeling their way back from the summer break and getting their routines back. And then next thing you know, October's here and there's things happening and festivals and all kinds of stuff. And then the holidays start to creep in. And then next thing you know, we just slide into the end of the year. And then we go, oh, I need to write my New Year's resolutions, which we know New Year's resolutions don't work anyway. And then we start January with, what didn't I do last year that I want to do this year? But by that time, it's already too late because you have to start creating the groundwork for success in your, and we're not talking about business success, financial success. We're talking about all the success. You have to start the groundwork in the fall. And a lot of people don't really look at it that way. So that's why we put September together. The September to remember. This is the taking control and taking action in your life. And this has been a month-long coaching session, each one adding on to the end, to the very last day of September for the Viva show, where we end with taking the leap. And we're gonna call you out. We're gonna see what your leap is that you're gonna take. But the more people we could reach with this information, the better it is. Because if we could get as many people filling out these things and answering these questions, which means they'd have to go back to the old shows, then we could have this all on that last episode where maybe we get a whole bunch of live viewers to come on and start sharing what they've learned. Or at least they could watch at a different time and just put comments in. So share away, and definitely repost the Viva episodes since September. And we've been slack on that too. We haven't reposted, but we're going to have to do that. Hey, Erica's here. We haven't seen we haven't seen her in a while. I'm so happy you're here.
My 4-leaf clover is Erica Balahala.
4-leaf clover. I love that.
Yes.
You know, Charlotte found a 4-leaf clover in the yard the other day.
How beautiful is that?
Isn't that cool? And then she did not store it properly. So, and I wasn't paying attention enough to where, you know, how like you put it in like the book or whatever it is, you know, and it ended up getting all dried out and crinkly. Oh, look at Erica saying she found one in Italy. Oh, that's cool.
You were there recently?
A 4-leaf clover or like a hot Italian man? Because you can find both. I've known. All right. So I haven't had a chance to share yet, but let's get moving and grooving on this. Let's do the set the intention for the show. Let's do the mantra, and then let's get busy talking about what we need to speak about. We're supposed to have Lillian come in and talk about the upcoming event that she has for October. Not 100% sure if she's going to make it in, but we'll move forward like as if she is, so that we don't take away from the time that we have for you. So here we go. Let's set our intention for Viva Cafe con Leche. As always, the intention is to be intentional and
grateful.
Yay. Intentional and grateful. So go set your intention for whatever it is today, whatever suits you the best. And then go with
gratitude.
And why is that so important, Gladiator Guru? Why is that piece so important, especially?
You have to be grateful for everything that comes your way. It'll help you. If you have a heart filled with kindness and gratitude, then it's easy for you to sift through the bullshit. It's good to be grateful on your own merit, but just it makes you also aware, because kindness and gratitude, they're like, you know, they're fraternal twins. You need both of them. They always should be together. But I just think it enriches your life. It makes you see things different, regardless of what the other person is doing. To me, it makes me feel as though, you know, in the ups and downs that I've been through the peaks and valleys, being grateful has always allowed me to always know I'm gonna get through this. It'll be okay. I was writing something different from what she just told me to come out and say, and that's why I'm a little stumped. But you know what? I live on gratitude. I love to be kind, but please never, never, never. We're going to speak on the subject of forgiveness today, but let me tell you, since she said to be grateful for, I am grateful that I learned the art of truly controlling my rage, because being kind and grateful and learning how to forgive does not mean you take any shit. And that's where people get the wrong idea. So they don't want to wave this way. You know, there's an old meme that has been out forever, because when I found it on my Facebook, it was like back in 2014. And then it started resurfacing again. And every time I see it, I crack up, because I think it is the most honest and funniest thing that I've ever heard. When it says, and I believe the badass Buddha has adopted the coin, which is also great, but I haven't heard her say it recently. It's a Buddha sitting down or a yogi sitting down. It's in two of those things. And it says, I am 50% namaste. And 50% go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I say that.
When you are learning to carry kindness and gratitude in your heart, that's fine. And when you are learning to forgive yourself for travesties done to you by others, that is fine. You have to find that serenity that brings you in, draws you in. But for the people who are afraid to lose their edge because they don't want to become soft, you can do both. One does not does not
negate the other.
Thank you. I was
Yeah.
at a little lost for the words.
Yeah, and it's true. And it took me years to understand that. Like, even when we first started doing this show and Gladiator Guru and I decided, oh, I'm like, where did she go? Even when we first started to do with this show and we decided to use nicknames, like as part of the shtick, when she'd already had Gladiator Guru for quite some time. And so when I had been toying around with the name Badass Buddha, and it came on, it was like very organically. It didn't come on as Badass Buddha at first. It came out the Compassionate Badass at first, or something like that. But the funny part was the Buddha part was definitely me. The badass part was not. It was not me. It was I couldn't resonate with it at first. I couldn't connect with it. So even for the first like few months of the show, I wasn't comfortable with calling myself Badass Buddha, because I didn't feel like a badass. But then I embraced it, and it was absolutely phenomenal to embrace it. And I've loved it ever since. So yeah, I've used it and I enjoy it. I'm trying to, what the hell? I swear to God, Facebook makes it harder and harder to share the content sometimes. It's very annoying. I'm trying to create a post.
I love Giovanni. Him and his white head of curly hair.
And Tony. Giovanni, good morning. Ciao.
From Genova. He's on from Genova, Italia, right, Giovanni? Toji. Love when my cousins come on. Oh, look, remember when Eric Tomek gave us a 4-leaf clover on the Camino? Yes, and he was just as excited when he found it.
And Georgianne, my neighbor's on. Good morning, Georgianne. And Tony's on. Good morning, Tony.
Toji.
All right. Toji. Is that how you want to? That's how
her name is Antonia, but you know how we I don't know. We know her as Toji.
All right, that works for me. Toji it is. Why can't I get this to paste? This is so annoying. I cannot seem to share this content. I'm telling you. I don't know what it is about Facebook, but sometimes. All right. Intention. Let's set the intention for today. Here we go. Say it loud. Say it proud. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am the cleavage. I'm magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And I am beyond authentic. I am
for real.
Woo! That is the mantra. It is very powerful. Say it, enjoy it, and live it. Say it when we're not it's not Tuesdays and Thursdays. When you're feeling really low, or you're feeling like kind of defeated or overwhelmed.
Say it every day. It's a mantra. Coño. Exactly. Word. Even if out of the mantra, I am a disruptor. I am unapologetically courageous. I am spiritually grounded. I am magically orgasmic. I keep it real. I am authentic, whatever verbiage you want to use with that. But you know what? Even if you want to say one every day of the week, and on Sunday you get up and you say it all, or on Monday morning to grab that energy for the week, you repeat them all, bien en voz alta. The thing is, it is your life to choose how you want to incorporate some smiles, a little pep in your step. Choose words that resonate with you and then say it every day. Do it for you.
Nice. Nice.
Maria Infante. Where's Lillian?
Yep, Maria's here. And also, for those of you that just jumped on, we are thrilled that you are here. We have such a fabulous show once again, because we're going to be talking about forgiveness and why it takes courage to forgive and what it means to forgive. So we're going to ask that for those of you that just popped on, if you could share it, this would be absolutely fabulous to see if we can get more people on, and share it throughout too. So you could just let people know, hey, if you can't watch right now, watch it at a later time, because we want you to be able to learn from this. Hey, Priscilla's in. Good morning, Priscilla. Priscilla's my friend. Probably one of the sweeties ever, man. I'm going to tell you. Well, and so is Georgianne. I'm very blessed to know and be friends with such phenomenally beautiful people. I really am. And I'm going to tell you that one of the reasons I am blessed, so there's my gratitude, has to do with the fact that I shifted myself over the years. The changes that I've made in myself the changes have allowed me to connect with the most incredible quality of people, just beautiful spirits, beautiful energy, and keep at bay or away the individuals whose energy I just don't ever want to be around, because they're just not they're not kind people. They may act like they're kind, but they're not really kind. So that being said, I'm just trying to type in everybody so I don't miss everybody, and then we'll get rocking and rolling. I don't know. Is she not coming?
Well, she's running. She just woke up, so I don't know if she's going.
Well,
let's hope, because you know what, people need to hear it. People need to hear it. We all need to hear about Ajusta Tu Corona's event on October 20, 2022 from 10 to 2 p.m. I just love those numbers. That's why I say it all the time. It's like they're caressing my tongue.
Yes. Ooh, that's nice. All right, let me say hi to everybody. We've already been, I like having it typed out there. It just makes it so much more lovely. And Giovanni's from, he's coming from Italy, right? That's where he's broadcasting from.
Yeah.
See that? We're international. We've been international for a while, though, thanks to you, because of your contacts, which have been absolutely fabulous. All right, so let's get these shout outs here. And not to mention those individuals who live in the US but represent so many other countries. We get a lot of Portugal, we get a lot of Spain, we get a lot of Puerto Rico.
Put that in. I think, you know what? There was somebody being interviewed, the guy, and I know we all, if you love Law and Order SUV, then everybody loves Stabler.
SVU. SUV is a car.
You know, I never got it right between.
I love Law and Order on my SUV.
Potato, you say potato, okay? Stabler. Everybody loved Stabler. I love that Stabler was just, you know what? He didn't care what his position, his badge. He always stood up for what he believed in. He stood up for the little man, and people looked at him as being, you know, erratic and rude and whatever. So he was at an interview. And they were asking him about somebody. And he looked down. My son actually sent it to me. And he shook his head and he says, you know, I can't comment on nothing that's going on with anybody, because my focus is on Puerto Rico and life happenings and that's my concern right now. And that spoke volumes, you know?
Yes.
And so I would love it. Like, she's doing good, Maria Infante. So I would say, you know, be proud. Put where you're from. Just be proud of who you are and where, you know, your parents came from, or vice versa. You know, I'm very protective of Puerto Rico. Robert Melendez, God bless Puerto Rico. Good morning, ladies, cuz I love you. I love you too.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Well, that would be really nice for everybody to do that, is put what your background is, what your nationality is. And let's see this as a melting pot here of culture. And again, there's so many people that we know that have been on, you know, live with us that we're not seeing. You know, everybody's schedule shifts and sometimes they watch afterwards. But we do really have a phenomenal mix of cultures on here, which is really, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love the diversity.
Yeah, it's like I was saying, I come from a dark skinned Puerto Rican father, and a glow in the dark Italian mother. You know, and I this is a tan that I have right here, but normally I'm like lily white. And when the sun hits me, I get tan. Now my little sister, when the sun hits her, it's like, wow, she's beautiful, Taina complexion. And then my older sister, who's naturally blonde like my mom and more fair skinned than I am. And I just think it's beautiful because when people see us all together, they say she's white, I'm Italian, and Janet's Puerto Rican. But I just think that the way we all can look so different and be from somewhere. And I think the most important thing is to be proud about your heritage. Learn your about your background. And you know what? When you get together and talk, that's the best conversation to talk about, oh well, my grandparents are from Puerto Rico and their tradition is every holidays we make this and we make that, and everybody inputs, and it's like the greatest conversation you can have. No politics, no religion, just being raised in different traditions with cultures and love. Because at the end of each story, we all share the same thing. They taught us love, how to have compassion, how to have appreciation for where you come from, and to move forward with pride. And when I got together, and because I love having these conversations, that's where it always took us. Like, be proud of where you came from. You are who you are because of those who came before you. So that's beautiful. Puertorriqueña. My cousin Coqui started off with Puerto Rico. Come on, bring it in. Even if you're from Bridgeport, Connecticut, girl.
That's where I'm right. That's my culture. I'm from Bridgeport. So we're like, see, Lillian's here, so we're gonna bring Lillian on. We've already posted the clickable link to attend the Usta tu Corona. So we're gonna jump Lillian on quickly, and then we'll get going on our conversation. Here she is, Miss
Great
Lillian
morning, great morning.
Maldonado.
My apologies for being late.
That's all right. So tell everybody quickly about the event. We're going to put the clickable link. It is literally clickable for you, at least on Facebook. I think it should be on YouTube as well. And you can purchase your tickets or donate a ticket. So go ahead and talk about that, Lillian.
Absolutely. We really would, the event is October 22nd, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So if you're a numbers person, those twos mean a lot to you. It is to assist people of domestic violence and assisting them by helping them to know that they are loved, they are exceptional, and that there is a much better life for them after. When you're in it, you don't see your way out of the darkness. But we want them to know that there are people who empathize with them, such as me, who was also a victim of domestic violence and survived. And we really want you to understand that you're not in a safe place. When you stay, you're not in a safe place. I personally know so many women that have been murdered, that have been killed by their domestic partners. Tonight, on Conversations with Ajusta Tu Corona, Margarita and I will be showing you some of these victims. So please attend tonight, but attend the gala. Let them know that you are there for them, that you believe in this cause, that you want to educate other women, that you want to educate other men about what is going on in the world on a daily basis. The gala is so much fun. We have a panel of speakers. We have a key speaker, Emmy Torres. We have data engineers. We have people of all levels of education. So, what does the face of domestic violence look like? It's the person right next to you. It could be an attorney, it could be a news person, it could be me, which it was, it could be any of us. Domestic violence does not prejudice, does not bias against anyone. We need you to understand that. And please come to our gala. It is, like I said, we have speakers, we have activities, it's interactive. There is music, there is a great meal, there are gift bags. Please come to our gala. Ajustatucorona.com or givebutter.com/ATC 2022. Hope to see you there.
Yay!
Yay!
I think yes, and then people can donate. They can purchase a ticket if they're not going to attend for somebody.
They can purchase if you can't attend, because this year Normally, we had the event for the past 4 years in Connecticut. This year, we moved it to Florida. So if you're in Connecticut watching us and you can't attend the event, any donation towards the Help Now of Osceola, which is domestic violence shelter that we chose this year to sponsor, would be so appreciated. Go online, hit the donate button, as little as $20. It doesn't have to be a full ticket. Every little bit counts and adds up to the cause. Um, if you can't make it and you find it in your heart to want to purchase a ticket for someone, that would be so appreciated. Thank you to your show. We had someone do that last week. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
They went on and they donated a ticket for a woman to be able to attend the event.
Shout out to
Um,
Jonathan.
Yep.
Yes.
yes. And if you want to be a sponsor in our program for the event and dedicate a half a page or dedicate a page as a memory to someone that you know passed on from domestic violence, that is doable as well. Every little bit counts. People need to see everything in their face constantly so that this cause is never forgotten.
Yes. Yes. And we're
Fabulous.
gonna keep repeating this and keep sharing with you up until the week before the event. So
Yeah.
prepárase because this is going to be a normal conversation. Ajusta tu corona.
Yeah, and in fact, Lillian, so October it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month and Domestic
And
Violence Awareness
domestic
Month.
violence month.
And so Lillian is actually going to be a guest on the show just before the October 22nd event. She's going to be a guest. She's going to be talking about domestic violence. And still, you know, if ticket sales are still going to be available, then we'll definitely remind people of that. And or they could at least just donate to your cause. So
Correct.
Lillian's going to be with us, just, you know, pushing this every show that we have for a few minutes. And then we'll actually have a conversation with her and go more into depth of that. And just one little kudos to Lillian is the fact that Lillian became an author this year, and she is in her badass story too. And she talks about that piece of her life. And so that just shows you like how you could transform your life, how she's transformed her life, and then brave enough to be able to share it to help other women, you know, pull themselves out of those situations. And even men, you know, it's not just women, but mostly we hear it with women. So wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Good. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lillian.
Bye.
Bye. Good morning, Carmen Nieves and Gwen Lord popped in. All right. So I'm gonna have to take my little one out to the bus stop, but so you're gonna have to take over. So forgiveness takes courage. That is our conversation today.
Yes.
Right.
We're gonna have storytelling time, mi gente, ¿vale?
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and start, and I'm gonna take my child out in a second. And also give them an idea of when we're talking about forgiveness. What are we speaking on? What elements of forgiveness? Who are we forgiving? Why are we forgiving? And then we'll get into the depths of the fact that it does take courage to do it. It's not always that easy, forgiveness. I'll say that from personal experience. It's not always that easy. All right, I will be back.
I think any decisions we choose to make, it's never easy. It's never such a transition that you're gonna go in with ease. There's always a hesitation, no matter how good the opportunity is, no matter how for the better of whatever life you have left on this earth, that choice is going to make. We always enter it a bit hesitant, some riddled with anxiety. There's a little, I want to stay where I'm comfortable with what I already know, but I know I got to move forward. So it's that inner struggle to anything, any change that we are going to make, whether it's for the best of our souls or something we have to do. We have to change a narrative somewhere in our lives. So we must change a person, place, or thing. We must change something on the outside in order to complete the inside. However it is, it's difficult. Any decisions we make is difficult. When it entails with something we have to do inward. A lot of us are not familiar with who we are inside. We've become so accustomed to discover and learn everything outside of us that we've become secondary. Our importance level is not at that of our children's, of our spouse, of our job, the attentiveness of our lifestyles, of our bills, of everything that comes with that. And then as time goes on, we become so accustomed to that we forget who the hell we are. We forget that we had to, make a U-turn and come back to us. At the end of every assignment we had with everybody else, we needed to make a U-turn and return to us to do some healing before we began the next task. And we didn't, because we didn't have time, or we will get to us later. You are the most important person in your life, but yet you are the most abandoned by you to exist. So why does forgiveness take courage? Because you're not forgiving anybody for anything they have done to you. You are forgiving yourself. People could have harmed you. They could have abused you. They could have neglected you. They could have been very attentive that it made you so sick that you thought that was abuse because you learned to become so dependent on them. I've known men who are so great with their women who are so great with their men, and they had to break free of it. So, anything in excess is too much, ¿verdad? So when you do forgiveness, the reason forgiveness takes courage is because you're forgiven from within. And a lot of people can't fathom that thought. They argue against it. They try to find loopholes within that to prove me wrong every time I say it. And I say, go for it. Because I've learned to forgive. And sometimes it's up to the last minute because, I've never been ashamed to share my story with my mom, how for my whole adult life, I held resentment towards her. That when she became ill, I did not want to take care of her because how could I become a caregiver to somebody I resented, for somebody who never acknowledged my existence as a child and through all of my growing pains. And I put it in prayer, and Eric had just passed away a couple months prior to this. And I'm like, I can't do this again, especially. So I prayed and guess what? I'm on the bus. I also wrote this in the badass story too. I put out a prayer. Next thing you know, I'm on a plane to Connecticut. And out of the 4 years that I was my mom's caregiver, it was within the last 6 to 8 months that I learned her, that we truly sat down and I listened and I learned her story. And although in my lifetime, she was presently absent, you learn. And I sat there and I forgave her and I asked for forgiveness for not inquiring earlier about my mom, the woman who carried me 9 months, the woman whose heartbeat sang symphonies for me and lullabied me to sleep within that womb. So forgiveness was so huge for me that I didn't care what happened to me in between those times that I totally blamed my mom for. Little things like her not allowing me to go with my 2-year-old daughter and stay in her house because of her husband. So I had to sleep in my car in the middle of winter. All of that just kept piling up. And now I just realized, my mom was a victim of rape. My mom was a victim of molestation by her mom's husband and so on and so forth. And I learned that in the last couple months of her life. But that's neither here nor there. But the thing is, you learn. And every time you take a sanctuary within yourself, you learn. And with learning, you forgive. So anyway, this is my 3rd publication, Soul Searching for Peace, a book of tears shed. And A Book of Tears Shed in Print, Margarita de Margarita. Esa soy yo, mujer completa. So just going to read, I'm going to read something on forgiveness, but I want to start with every time you fall and you rise, you should learn. Every time you fall and rise, you should understand. Every time you fall and rise, you have better insight in who you are and how strong you are, where your strength comes from, and how courageous you are. So it doesn't matter how many times you fall, it's in how you rise that molds that character that you call you. So in this part of my book, the very beginning in the preface, I write, I am art. I was not born with peace in my heart. I was born with the sword in my hand. I have always been brave. I have always been brave. Because when you own your now and you live in your moment, you're going to continue to have those uncomfortable bits, right? Those growth spurts, and they're uncomfortable, and you'd rather say, oh, I got a headache, I'm going to go take a nap and clam away from it, but don't. The difference is that when you are aware that you are owning your now and living in your moment, you welcome it with an open mind, with an open heart, and with a knowing that you wasn't born for where you're at. You were born for greater. That path is still going. Put your shoes on. Y vamos a caminar. Because when we stop for ourselves, because we're too busy being there for others, what is your purpose? So, towards the end, because I'm different. I didn't number my pages on purpose. So it says, I forgot to forget. It's the peace that is called. The bold line says, to forgive takes courage. To forget takes a lifetime. To let go takes wisdom. I have forgiven many in my lifetime. I did not care if they were sorry for their actions or not. I forgave me. I have worked really hard to forget the bullshit travesties. I have also learned to let go of the unwanted baggage. But I am human, and we humans are a foolish lot. We tend to pull the scabs off our old wounds and open the doors to those long ago battles that are better left behind. In my moments, in my woe is me moments, where I sit in silence and watch the blood flow from me, and unnecessarily so, just because the doors in my attic all swung open simultaneously and allowed for my monsters to come out and play, to wreak havoc. Forgetting has never been easy for me, as I have a brain of an elephant. I remember in details all things I do not forget. We all have demons we are battling, unmade decisions to ponder, one foot anxious for the new, the other stuck in what was. Miseries and mediocrities of stagnations of things that were and should no longer be. Rise from the guilt. You no longer live in that space. Allow your courage to protect you. Forgetting takes a lifetime. Be gentle with yourself, because we all have demons we are battling. To forgive takes courage. To forget takes a lifetime. To let go takes wisdom. To let go takes wisdom. And my friends, I am a motherfucking sage. Courage, lifetime, wisdom. Although it may be difficult, it can be done. I know, because I too am learning slowly to do just this. To forgive takes courage. To forget takes a lifetime. To let go takes wisdom. What are you going to choose? To seek your peace, or to stay living in an unstable mentality, which is going to get your blood pressure up, anxiety, panic attacks, anger, where you're angry at all the wrong people because you don't own a mirror in your motherfucking house to say, what is wrong with you, Margarita? What is wrong? Take it away, badass Buddha.
Oh, yeah. Forgiveness is a tough one. I remember when I was going through my worst of the worst, I started to work on myself. I wasn't in a place of forgiveness. You have to get to that place Like you can't, if somebody wrongs you, you can't just immediately start working on forgiveness and say, oh, that's my growth. I have to do this because that's what everybody says I need to do. You have to work on yourself in multiple ways. Why do I look so crooked? This is so annoying. My
Yeah,
shirt. I don't
okay.
like the shirt. So you have to work on yourself in multiple ways, right? So I remember watching a lot of, like, I was doing a lot of documentaries. I was reading a lot. I was learning a lot about myself. And then I watched one of the movies, because I would watch movies too. Anything that helped me grow, helped me learn. And I remember watching the movie Diary of a Mad Black Woman. That was probably one of the very pivotal movies that I watched in my transformation, because it spoke volumes to me because of what the woman went through. You know, she had been cheated on, deceived for years, and treated like absolute garbage. And that's what I had gone through. Like, that's exactly what I had gone through. Only, you know, hers was one person. This, in my case, it wasn't. It was multiple. But the deception was there, and living what you thought was one life, but it wasn't. And then how she was treated afterwards, and she was so angry, and she was so resentful, and so and I felt every piece of that. But that movie, if you've ever seen it, and I highly recommend it, that movie's all about forgiveness. That's what it's talking about. It's letting go and forgiving. And I loved it because that's what the premise was. But the thing is that in the movie, it took time to get there. And so when I felt it and what she was going through, I wasn't there. I actually didn't even receive the forgiveness piece of that movie until I had watched it a few more times over several months, and even watched it even like 2 years later, and really felt the forgiveness piece. And what I found for me was the biggest focus had to be forgiving myself. Like, forgiving the harsh things that I said to myself, and because we cannot control other people, and we cannot go back and change a situation. So if we made a bad choice and we feel all kinds of ways about it, we have to forgive ourselves for that. Like, we have to own it and be accountable and forgive ourselves. If somebody else made a bad choice that affected you, you can't go back and change it. You can't change who they are, but you have to say, I forgive myself for whatever element I played into it, or forgive myself for being so hard on myself after having gone through it. Do you know how much horrible stuff that I said to myself when I hit that low point in my life? You're so stupid. How could you have not seen this? You've been humiliated. People around you knew what was going on. And like, I didn't even want to come out of my house, you know? And I was just so like, how could you let this happen again? This is just this, like, you're nothing, you're a loser, you're this, you must deserve this. And I had to finally say, I forgive myself. Like, this was not my fault. I didn't do anything to create this, but I cannot sit there and punish myself for somebody else's actions, and or for what I could have or should have done, when at that moment in time I didn't even know how to do it. So forgiveness for me has been a challenging road, to finally express that to anybody and say, you know, I had to really forgive myself. And forgiving the other people, now that's a more complicated thing. On my best day, I was saying this to Gladiator Guru yesterday, on my best day, I'm very forgiving. On my worst days, I'm not. And I've also forgiven myself on this piece to say, I don't have to necessarily forgive people. You know, I don't have to. I don't want that pressure. So I'm going to forgive myself for putting that pressure on me. If I'm going to forgive, it will come with time, and I will forgive. The difference is that I'm not going to hold on to it. See, that's why a lot of people say, "Oh, you need to forgive. You need to forgive." Don't tell me what I need to do. What has to be done is what's best for you. But if you find that not forgiving holds you holds you hostage, rather, in that moment in time, in that situation or situations, then something's got to give. So some sort of forgiveness has to come into play, whether it's for yourself only or maybe for the other people involved. And I was listening, Gladiator Guru, when you're talking about your mom, and it's like you had to, that in that case, it was forgiving another person and understanding where they were coming from at any given time. You could sit there and harp on it till the last bit of breath to say, she did this and she didn't let me back in when my child was this age, and because of her actions this led to another horrific situation. But what good is it going to do you to keep
And
that with you?
there's a lot of people who refuse to forgive and don't want to acknowledge forgiveness because they're comfortable in their misery, and they're comfortable in the misery because then they can hold on to somebody, even if it's just in their mind, because they did this to me. Why should I forgive them? I didn't ask, they did. And it's all about you. At the end of the day, all the bullshit travesties that are done to you, is up to you to put a shield in front of you or to purge it out. As horrible it may sound, we didn't ask for it, but it's our responsibility to release it. And let me tell you something.
There's what
I'm always talking about God. I write about it. You know, I love God. I love Jesus always, because I've seen miracles happen. And I can say as early as 6 years old, I was given the gift of insight. I was, from a decision that saved my father from being in prison for murder. All of my years of molestation, the rape, I walked away. Let me tell you something. And I'm a very passionate person. For those who watch this show know that when I'm speaking about something I believe, it sounds like I'm yelling and that I want to come to the screen and just strangle you when I just want to kiss you. But I am a very hot-blooded, passionate person. I don't care to explain it, because what your perception of me is yours. And that's the operative word, your perception. But I must say that I was great as my 2-year-old slept beside me. People are like, how can you tell the story with no emotion? Because I don't own it.
Yeah, you're not connected to it, and you're not attached. You're not attached, not detached.
No.
Detached is a completely different word. You're not attached. It is a story that has shaped you, and you honor yourself for that. But you acknowledge it.
Have happened less, and they still stuck to their sorrow for years. Everybody's different. I can tell you about me. I didn't have to take classes to learn this. This was something that was innate in me, and I got through it. And then when you look back, you're like, damn, I am a badass motherfucker.
Yes, you are.
And I
That's
will
right.
claim that, and I don't care who thinks anything, because let me tell you something. My daughter never woke up from it, even though I fought with this man. I got up, we took showers, we got dressed, I shoved as much as I can in bags. I took a cab, I dropped her off at daycare, I took my ass to work. Okay? And I handled my business accordingly. Was I upset? Of course, I was just violated. Did I break down into a mush? No, if that's what you do, it's totally fine. Everybody's different.
That's right.
You know what? I'm that gladiator. That's why I've been called that for many, many years. Everybody handles things differently. I had to forgive myself for being angry that my mother didn't take me in. Why was it easy to blame my mother? Because she's my mother. And that's where my vulnerability always lay to it, because she's my mom. And I'm so grateful to God that he gave us that time to forgive one another, to understand one another before we said, until we meet again. So working on yourself, forgiving yourself. Don't talk about forgiving anybody when you cannot forgive yourself for staining your favorite black dress with bleach. Let's make it that simple before we take it to the opposite side of the spectrum. Forgiveness should come for everything that you do, for who you are. And you are the only person for you. We are all we have. Everybody around us is a bonus. You know, our children, our grandchildren, if your parents are alive, they're bonuses. You are the most important person in your life. So you have to learn how to forgive for you, no matter what anybody has done to you. You forgive for you to make you a better person so that you can live with intention and in gratitude. And you carry kindness like a badge of honor. And you can only do that when you learn to forgive. Now, what the badass Buddha said early is very, very important for you to remember. Forgiveness does not mean that you allow a person or persons to disrupt your peace, to throw stones onto your path, to try to terrorize your spirit. When just because I forgive somebody don't mean I want to be in the same motherfucking room with them. Just because I forgive somebody does not mean that I need to look at you and smile because I'm not fake and
That's right.
goes nowhere with me.
Yes.
So you got to understand, don't take it so literal. And that's what keeps you from learning self-forgiveness. Because you're putting, again, other people before you. Well, I'm not going to talk to so-and-so after what they did. I can't forgive them. You're still making them a priority over yourself, damn it. To forgive yourself is being courageous, is being patient with self and knowing that forgiveness is welcomed when you are ready to unlock the ball and chain that you have placed upon your ankles. No one put it here. You got the key. You swallowed that bitch. You better shit it out and unlock yourself from it. You know why? Because only you have the power. Only you have the common sense. Only you have the desires to be free of everything that you don't want in your life. It's God, you, then everybody else. Live that.
So you heard what Gladiator Guru said. If you swallowed that bitch, shit it out. All right. And if it's stuck, take an enema. Take anything to get it out. Let's see what Georgianne wrote. Said fault versus responsibility. It's not my fault he cheated, but it's my responsibility to show my daughter how a woman with grace deals with this. It's not my fault I'm late for work, but it's my responsibility to leave 10 minutes earlier tomorrow. It's not my fault my children misbehave, but it's responsibility to teach them every day.
I love you, Georgianne.
Yes, Georgianne. I love Georgianne.
Just for that, let me tell you, that is taking responsibility.
Yes.
If your kid is being a little terror, whether it's in the house with you or out in the street, it is your job to discipline. My kids are 36 and 32, and if they act up at this date in the street, I will drop them where they stand. There's no age limit.
I was just thinking when you were speaking before too, though, that another element of forgiveness is this. Let's say you did somebody wrong and they're angry at you still. They're holding it. They're not letting it go. And you've asked for forgiveness. You said, I'm so sorry I did that. And they won't let it go. That's another piece that we often hold on to because they're holding us hostage for that. Yeah. You have to forgive yourself for that too. But if you've changed and you've made, you're doing your best to make amends, you can't make amends for the rest of your life. You just have to move forward. And I remember a conversation that happened with me and my middle daughter. And my middle daughter was very, very angry regarding our, she was very, very angry regarding our situation, like what had happened in the household between me and her dad. And she didn't really know the exact story. And she was angry at both of us. And she lashed out at me numerous times. And she told me, she was like, I hate you, blah, blah, blah. And I wasn't going to go into detail about what was going on, but I had to take it. And then she said, what she brought up too was, during that time, because she called me out on the time when I was depressed and I couldn't even take care of myself, that I wasn't there for her. And she's like, you didn't do this and you didn't stand up for me. She was very, very angry. And I had to honor that, And I said, all I could say to her is, listen, I wish I could go back in time and change things. I said, I can only take responsibility for the things that I did or didn't do. I said, I was not in a good headspace, at a real optimal time for you and your development. And I wasn't there. I wasn't there. And I apologize, but I can't go back and fix it. If I could, I would. So you've got to figure out what you're going to do with that. All I could do now is just tell you, or help you now work through things based on what I learned about myself and my journey, and then be the best version of myself now for you and your sisters. And it took a couple of years to really get through to her on that piece of it, where now she sees it. She now understands, and she understands that I didn't have full control over my how I was living at that time because I was in such a very distraught, bad headspace. And so we've gotten through that. And, I don't know if she's ever said to me she's forgiven me, but I didn't need to hear that, because if she did, even if she didn't say it, her actions will speak it. So I feel like she has. But all I could do is just move forward. And again, it's like we're either somebody is holding us hostage, we're holding somebody else hostage, or we're holding ourselves hostage. And the first thing you have to work on is you have to stop holding yourself hostage
You have to stop
and forgive.
overthinking. You know what? You do or you don't. You can't be, you know what? There's people who say that I'm rude, that I'm mean, that I'm loud. And I had this conversation with Iris yesterday and my niece, because they both pissed me off. And I'm like, you've known me all your fucking lives. Why is this why all of a sudden there's such sensitivity around it? And you know what? I'll apologize if I know that because I have that mean streak. I go from 0 to 159 in 0.1 seconds. And I've been working really hard not to be that what's up type of person. And they can tell you, yeah, but I know that I've changed, whether they accept it or not. But let me tell you, I'm not going to apologize to every single person who is so sensitive that they're saying I hurt their feelings. Figure out why you're so sensitive. Why does everything I say or people who speak in my tone of voice offending you? You gotta work on you. There's a lot of excavation you gotta do in your person, in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. Massage that soul. Nourish that spirit, because you know what? Not everybody is responsible for how you feel. Forgive yourself for believing that. But let me tell you something. We don't have time to waste time. For those of us, like my cousin right here, I forgave my dad, but it was not easy. It took a few years to heal, but I am glad we did it, my sister and I. And I remember those conversations, Toji, because I had to forgive my dad. And Toji and I are related. And that was hard. And I never, Toji, when we had all those conversations about forgiving dad, because in my first book, I talk about forgiving my dad, right? So what happens? Never thought about forgiving my mother. She was locked away in one of those closets in my mind that it was like a lost cause. To see how the world, it evolves. And when we don't evolve with it, then we're stagnant and we want to blame people, places, and things. Forgive yourself for holding yourself back. Then forgive yourself for not trusting yourself enough to forgive all those people around you, even though you cut ties and never need to see them again. But if you don't forgive for yourself, you're carrying them. They're taking up space in your soul. So you're too heavy to continue going forward in the purpose of your life. So think about that. We pray for those who pray. We pray for forgiveness. We pray for trespassing and, forgive us for trespassing as we forgive those who trespass against us. We want forgiveness from the Lord. But then who the hell are we not to forgive somebody next door who dented our bumper and didn't take responsibility? Or for the person who robbed us? Thank God when we were at the grocery store and not home having dinner, it could have been a worse scenario. Be grateful for the little things. And when you're grateful for the little things in your life, it's easier to forgive, because you're not going to go to the person and says, I know that you raped me and all, but I'm going to forgive you. No.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. That's
you
right.
know, I am the gladiator.
And if you want to, there's no.
Because you can if you want to maintain contact with somebody.
No, I mean, you don't even have to. If you really just can't bring yourself to forgive that person, even if you're saying it to yourself, that's something you need to work out with. But the key is just really focusing on you, because
focus on you. But
yeah,
that's
don't beat yourself up.
About. Mm-hmm. This forgiveness takes courage, because Laura and I had to learn. And let me tell you something. When you walk away, when you look in that mirror every morning, every night before bed, in between, you want to shake your ass and learn how to tell yourself that, tell yourself. Because one, you got to always know your worth. You got to live your beliefs that you are worthy. You got to love and trust your thoughts. You got to protect your peace at all time. Learn to unlock your greatness. Learn to be selfish with your peace, which means, hey, Margie, no. Don't even let them finish. If you already know you don't want to go nowhere, it don't matter. Save time. You don't got time. I don't know whose quote it is, because there's so many people claiming the quote Buddha, the Dalai Lama. I don't know. Al Groper. What does it say? The biggest mistake humans make is believing we have more time.
Yeah.
So keep your sensitive spirit, take adventures and laugh, inspire every soul you meet out in the world, and always choose your peace, your passion, and your purpose.
Yay. Oh,
That's
we got to leave on that.
Your peace, but
we got to leave on that note.
Everybody who wrote, Iritza wrote something real quick. We read everybody else. I forgave the person that molested me so that I could heal myself, and hated it for years, and I couldn't enjoy any family get-togethers. Now I don't feel that way. It's up to us. Badass Buddha, this was phenomenal, because this is such everybody wants to talk about mindset and positivities and the law of attraction, and you still can't acquire any height in that until you take care of the little things, which is forgiveness.
Yeah, that brings your energy. That lowers your energy, and so that just keeps you where it's true. Exactly what you said is exactly true. You cannot attain those. So thank you. And Georgianne, you rock too, Georgianne.
Georgianne was awesome today.
Thank you.
Ana Batista was on, but we didn't get a lot of people. Janet Ortiz, if you're on, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Once I get to talking, you know that if the Badass Buddha doesn't come on Moments with Margarita, there's no comments, because she's good at typing in at you, thank you. My sister Janet was on. I love you, Zoa. When the topic is of so close to my heart like this, I just go on a tangent, and then that's when the Badass Buddha got to say. And on that note, we end, because if not, I'm still talking. Okay.
Yeah, and I have to get off. I have a patient. I have to get off. So
thank you, everyone.
Normally I don't, but at this time. But anyway, thank you everybody for coming on. And so do your homework. Keep up. If you haven't been keeping up with everything in September, go back and view them. Please share them, repost them to see if we can get a bigger crowd for next week. Next week is the last week of September. And next week on Tuesday, it is, what are you not doing? So we've been asking that question. Now we're actually going to really ask the question, just that alone. What is it that you are not doing?
Yes.
That you've learned all these last 3 weeks or 2 weeks? What are you not doing? And then Thursday's show is Take the Leap. Okay. So we will see everybody then. Have an absolutely fantastic weekend. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, breathe in your beauty and breathe out their bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste.